In Los Angeles, a city once known for its diverse resilience, scenes of confrontation and civil unrest unfolded over the past 4 days as thousands of protesters clashed with law enforcement in response to a series of federal IC raids and the controversial arrest of SEIU California President David Huerta. The demonstrations, initially peaceful, erupted into chaos as federal authorities deployed over 2,000 National Guard troops, accompanied by 700 U.S. Marines, to secure federal facilities and immigration detention centers across downtown L.A. and surrounding areas. The deployment, ordered by President Donald Trump, has drawn heavy criticism from California Governor Gavin Newsom, who filed a legal challenge against what he called an unconstitutional federal overreach and militarization of civilian spaces. The protests, which have continued into a fourth day, have seen escalating violence, particularly over the weekend, with police declaring unlawful assemblies and using tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse crowds. At least 70 individuals have been arrested, 5 LAPD officers injured, and several incidents of property damage, including vandalized LAPD vehicles and set fires to driverless Waymo taxis, have been reported. Journalists covering the protests were not spared, as rubber bullets and flashbangs struck multiple media personnel, including Australian correspondent Lauren Tomasi and British photographer Toby Canham, while photojournalist Nick Stern suffered severe injuries after being hit with an explosive device while clearly wearing press credentials, prompting renewed calls for greater protections for media covering civil unrest. The Pentagon estimates the cost of the 60-day deployment will exceed $134 million, further inflaming criticism from both local officials and national civil rights groups who argue that such financial and tactical escalation reflects a dangerous trend toward authoritarian responses to domestic dissent. Trump, however, defended the move in a statement late Monday, claiming the deployment was necessary to preserve order and prevent anarchist-led chaos, suggesting the protests were being exploited by radical groups intent on destabilizing immigration enforcement efforts. Protesters, many representing immigrant advocacy coalitions, labor unions, and civil rights organizations, argue that their actions are constitutionally protected expressions of dissent and that federal actions, particularly the IC raids that led to the detention of hundreds of undocumented immigrants, violate due process and reflect systemic targeting of marginalized communities. The arrest of Huerta, a prominent Latino labor leader, served as a lightning rod, galvanizing widespread support from labor activists across California and beyond, some of whom joined rallies held in solidarity in cities like Oakland, New York, and Philadelphia. The Los Angeles Times reports that protesters surrounded federal courthouses, blocked freeway on-ramps, and staged sit-ins in front of IC offices, while social media footage showed dramatic standoffs between armored federal officers and unarmed demonstrators chanting, "This is our city," and "Abolish IC." The use of federal military presence on California soil without the state's consent has ignited a fresh constitutional debate, with legal scholars weighing on the limits of federal emergency powers, especially when such powers are used in defiance of state objections. Meanwhile, celebrities and public figures have also entered the fray, using platforms like the BET Awards to amplify protester grievances. During Sunday's broadcast, artist Doekiai condemned the government's response, calling it ruthless and unjust, while urging fans to donate to immigrant legal aid organizations. On the ground, tensions remain high as more protests are expected in the coming days, particularly in response to reports of harsh conditions inside the IC facilities and the temporary blackout of body camera footage from several federal operations. In a press conference Tuesday morning, Governor Newsom vowed to continue challenging the federal intervention, stating that California will not stand by while its communities are terrorized by militarized federal agents, while Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass urged calm but stopped short of supporting Trump's federal actions, instead calling for an independent inquiry into the use of force against protesters and journalists. As demonstrations continue, analysts warn of potential spillover into other states and further legal battles over the scope of federal policing powers. With the nation once again grappling with the tension between security and civil liberty, Los Angeles stands at the center of a political and cultural firestorm that could shape immigration enforcement, federal-state relations, and protest law for years to come.